Welcome to the show / podcast. Chase Mason, vocalist of Gatecreeper.
What's up? What's up?
That was probably my most awkward intro I've done so far. By far. I was trying a new thing.
You can edit it later. No, I'm just kidding.
That didn't work.
It's not worthy of editing. What's going on, Chase?
Welcome to the show, man.
I'm just chilling. Thanks for having me.
How you been holding up out there in the Midwest this entire time? Because it's been like officially a year since shows or anything fun has been going on.
I mean, it's been pretty boring, I guess. I did a little bit of traveling last year, and I somehow never got COVID. But then this year, at the beginning of the year, I wasn't doing anything. I barely left my house, and I got COVID last month.
Tight.
So that was fun. Yeah.
Alex,
well, you survived, obviously.
I did. I think I had a pretty mild case of it, so I'm pretty lucky.
I have yet to encounter.
Yeah, your Arizona brethren, I guess. Dude from Tool, Maynard. Does he live in Arizona now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he lives in Jerome.
I guess he got it twice, and I thought I read something about some significant lung damage that he suffered. I don't know how that'll impact him, long term, but I guess to me that's sort of the scariest thing with COVID. You don't know what's going to happen. Like even if you read stories about people who think they recovered and then like 2 days later they just die for whatever freaking reason.
Yeah, it's pretty scary, and in Arizona in particular, like we've been back and forth. I think maybe Florida has beat us at certain points of time, but like the worst places, not only in the country, but like in the whole world. I think at one point I saw a statistic that like 1 in 5 people in Arizona had it or something like that. Something crazy.
Damn.
Interesting.
Well, I was watching that John Oliver show. I can't remember the name of it exactly. But they were like, there was a segment where they were pretty much like shitting all over Arizona, politically speaking. I'll wager a guess that you're not aligned with the ultra right wing establishment there.
No.
Do you feel like it is like a right wing kind of place, or are you in a progressive area?
I mean, I guess I live in a progressive or more liberal bubble as far as like socially. But as a whole, I think the state is definitely conservative, and I think religious, and I think at some things are like kind of like the wild, wild west out here, like with guns and all kinds of shit, and now with the COVID stuff, like I think we were one of the first states one of the last to actually shut down, and the first or one of the first to open back up. So I think that our government got a lot of flack for that. So rightfully so. But yeah, I would say it's like a conservative place for the most part.
Yeah, that makes sense. You guys, is like Martin Luther King Jr. Day like still not a thing there?
I think we celebrate all those holidays.
Okay.
Or observe them.
Or maybe
whatever you call it.
Maybe that was like a 90s thing. You do daylight savings time? I don't know shit about Arizona.
See that we don't do daylight savings time.
Okay.
I always wonder how that affects everybody outside. Like, how is that referenced to you outside of your state? Like, I've always wondered how that.
It's just like we kind of fluctuate in between time zones, I guess. Like right now, we're only 2 hours behind East Coast time, but sometimes. I guess it's whenever daylight savings happens, we'll be 3 hours behind, or maybe the other way around. But so sometimes we're on West Coast time. Like sometimes we're on the same time zone as California, but right now we're an hour ahead of them. So I honestly don't know I don't understand it either. Luckily, I could just look at my phone and it tells me what time it is.
I was going to say, does your phone automatically switch the time depending on what time zone you're supposed to be on?
It does.
If this were the 80s, man, that would really suck having to change your clock so frequently. And I don't change the clock in my car, so like half the year it's an hour off.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's the opposite. Like we don't have to change it ever. So.
yeah, that's.
It makes sense.
Well,
in the long
there's a benefit to everything, I suppose.
Yeah.
In any case, so what was do you remember the date, like the actual date of your last show? Gatecreeper show?
The last Gatecreeper show was the Decibel Beer and Metal Festival, that the LA version. And I think that was in December of 2019.
Oh, wow. So
it's been over a year.
You didn't get to
I never know what answer I'm going to get. Like someone would be like, March 15th, 2018, as tears come down the cheek. But
well, it was kind
of a long time, though.
Yeah. And it was fucked up because we were supposed to do the Decibel tour in 2020. And it was like Mayhem, Abath, us, and Idle Hands. And that tour got canceled 2 days before it was supposed to start. Because it was starting in the middle of March, and that's like right when everything started going down. So it got canceled literally right before it was supposed to start.
So how badly, not being a musician, I mean, I can imagine, but how badly does that screw you? I mean, I assume you had like a ton of merch printed, and then what? You try and sell it online? Or do you just like hold it for the next tour and hope that next tour happens sooner rather than later?
Both. Like we definitely, since it was so close, like we were literally packed up and ready to go because the first show was in Denver. We were going to take like 2 days to drive there. So we were packed up and ready to go when we were told that like the tour is just canceled. So we had all the merch. We sold a lot of it online. Thankfully, a lot of people bought it. But like records and CDs and stuff, like I didn't want to have to mail those out. So I just have a bunch of those sitting around. But yeah, even we had a shirt that had like the tour dates on it. And I was afraid that people, I'm like, oh, these are useless now, but people actually wanted to buy those ones.
Oh yeah. There's like going to be more rare later on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And, you guys you haven't played a show, but you have a live stream show on Friday?
Yeah.
Am I crazy?
Yep.
Which is going to be
I don't have any interns to do research for me, so. So how much preparation have you guys done for that? Are you guys going to wing it, or have you been like rehearsing so it's just going to be this perfect production?
Well, I was kind of resistant to doing a live stream for a long time just because it's not going to ever replace a live show. And it took a year of not being able to play shows and seeing some cool, like successful live streams that I saw. And I was like, all right, maybe it's time to do that. Who knows, things keep getting pushed back. So I kind of came around to the live stream idea. But we put a lot of work into it. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass, or just more involved logistically because we all don't live in the same city. Like two of the guys live in Tucson, which is like 2 hours away from Phoenix. And then our new guitar player lives in Texas. So it's a little bit harder to get together and to get things ready than just, if we were all lived in the same city, but we've definitely been working on it. And,
this is a multi-camera thing?
Yeah.
Are you going to be in the same room?
Like a whole video crew?
Yeah.
All right.
What was that?
Are you going to be in the same room, or are you going to be all recording from your various locations?
Oh, no. We're all in the same room.
No, you got to do the same room, man. So out of curiosity, some of the ones you said you saw a couple that, were pretty cool. Any come to mind in particular? Live streams I'm talking about.
Yeah, the Full of Hell Nothing one was really cool.
Okay.
I know Code Orange was doing a bunch and doing some different stuff with it. And I watched the Down one. I thought it was really cool because it had, at the beginning, it had like a 20 or 30 minute kind of like documentary at the beginning. And I thought that was cool because that was something that we were trying to do, like incorporate almost like the Pantera vulgar videos, of us, like just stuff of us just fucking around, to mix it up, or, have before we do the live stream, or in between, have it cut in and out. So, we've been playing around with doing stuff like that.
Are you guys going to be playing live, or is it going to be pre-recorded? So live? Okay, cool.
Well, we recorded it. We at this venue here, we recorded it. We played live and we recorded it. But at the time, it's like we're not playing live at the time that it's being live streamed, but it was all recorded live.
I didn't know if it was going to be like somewhat interactive while playing, because I don't know if you'll have like a chat or something like that on your stream. So
I don't think so. I know some bands have been doing it like on Twitch, but I think for the most part, as far as I understand, like most of the bands that are doing live stream, if not all, it's like it's pre-recorded in some way, because I think that it would kind of be a logistical nightmare to try to actually live stream it and make it as high quality as you wanted it to be.
All right.
Yeah, a lot can go awry.
Unless you're like in a CBS studio.
Big one was live, but I could be wrong about that.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I guess the bigger bands, obviously that's probably not a huge deal for them, but the peons like us. Although you did just sign a Nuclear Blast, so you're
congratulations
on your way up, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, congrats on that.
Thank you.
I was a Relapse. You released 2 albums with Relapse, right?
Yeah, 2 full lengths. That we did 2 splits on Relapse as well, like kind of in between records.
Okay. For some reason I felt like Relapse wouldn't do anything less than a 3-album contract, and I was a little surprised that before that 3rd Relapse LP came out that you guys had signed a Nuclear Blast, but I don't hang out in a lot of rooms when these contracts are being signed, so maybe my perspective is outdated at this point.
It was just 2.
It was just 2.
Was there a kind of a, I don't say bidding war because it makes it sound like you're Maroon 5, but were there a couple labels like vying for Gatecreeper, or are you guys a Nuclear Blast sort of the you were converging for a while for this, at this deal?
I mean, there was a lot of people or labels interested, I would say. And, it's like you said, like people assume, maybe we would have been under contract for a lot longer, and we definitely weren't putting it out there like, hey, we're free agents or whatever. So, but there was definitely, people that were interested, and people that I met over the years that we had conversations with. And also it was kind of a weird time, especially when COVID hit. Like that was during the time that I probably would have done a lot more of like actually meeting with people. But Nuclear Blast had kind of came into picture because I had met Monty Connor. I think when we were on tour with like Paul Bear or something like that, who had recently signed to Nuclear Blast, I met him at the show in New York, and we'd kind of kept in contact from then.
Yeah, that dude's been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
So you guys signed a Nuclear Blast before the surprise EP came out, right?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, and they were just like, cool, go release that with Closed Casket or whoever. They didn't try and say, hey, let's, hold off on that and make it the Nuclear Blast debut.
No, yeah, because we already had, by the time we actually signed, we had already, that record was already recorded and finished. And even before that, even before we actually signed, but when we just started talking with them, they knew that we were doing that. And Justin that runs Closed Casket, he works with Nuclear Blast, like they have a working relationship. So it wasn't like just some random stranger that they were allowing us to do this with. They already knew, so everybody was kind of on the same page. But it was we definitely had to carve that out and make sure that in writing and everything was like that we're doing this, so that there wasn't any issues later on.
And the whole surprise thing, how much of a, discussion was that regarding, okay, do we do promotion beforehand? Are we killing sales by doing it this way? I'm always curious because it seems like, it's the surprise thing's cool for fans. Like, hey, my favorite band just released a new album, but by the same token, for the band, it seems like it could be, a little, I don't want to say damaging, but loss of something. Like you read, like when Avenged Sevenfold, and again, we're talking a much bigger band, but they surprise released their album. They said, I thought I read something effect like, we're not going to do that again because it just, we killed our sales. And obviously Gatecreeper is on a smaller scale. So maybe, it's not the ramifications aren't as severe. But I mean, how much of a discussion is that? Or do you guys even care? You're just like, no, let's just release it. Surprise. That's cool.
No, it was definitely a surprise. And it was our idea to do it that way for a couple different reasons. Number one, the record was a little bit different as far as our styles. And we didn't want it to do like a rollout and put out one of the songs and people be like, oh, is this what Gatecreeper's changing their sound, and also there's 8 really short songs and there's one really long song. So either one of those we could have chose would have been a weird song to just release one at a time. And we wanted people to, listen to it as a whole. And also it's just like with everything going on in the world, it's hard to keep people's attention. And I feel like that 3-month-long rollout process was just right now not something that would really make sense. So there's a whole lot that went into doing the surprise, and it was a risk, but it paid off. Like it did really well. And I think, using
saw some of the sales numbers, pretty impressive.
Yeah, it did really well. And, we're not the first band to do that. People did have referenced the Avenged Sevenfold one because that kind of like flopped. But I mean, I feel like I'm not a Avenged Sevenfold fan. I don't follow them, but I feel like they did that after they were already like kind of in their prime anyway.
They were already
way past.
Yeah, so it's like it's hard to gauge that off of, and it's while it might be a new thing that for like rock and metal bands to do it that way, because I think we're labels and just everybody in general is kind of stuck in like the traditional way of how everybody's been doing it. But like rap and pop, they do surprise releases all the time. Granted that they're not actually putting out a physical product most of the time. Like they're not putting out vinyl and CDs. It's just digital. So it makes it a little bit more complicated, but like it was a risk and it paid off. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot more releases like that coming out.
I think it actually works better because I think it works better for smaller bands.
I hate those rollouts that drag on. Like we're 6 singles into the album and it's still not out yet. It's like that. Maybe I just get sick of posting about song premieres, so I have my unique little perspective. But it just seems to really be prolonged at time. So I'm cool with it. Although I guess, it wasn't 100% of a surprise because of you got to put an ad on the back of Decibel. I mean, beforehand.
It didn't have any information. It didn't have any information, though.
That's true.
That was on purpose.
Yeah, and that obviously gets people talking. But people knew something was in the works. But clearly it all worked out for you guys, so that's awesome.
Yeah. I agree. I think that the rollout, the 3 months, like it can seem even pre-pandemic, it seems like it could drag on a little bit more. Like you see, like, man, I've seen this record be posted about for 6 weeks, and the record's still not even out yet. Like I'm already over it, and the record's not even out yet. So I mean, and we've done that before. Like the 2 records we did on Relapse, they did that, and I'm sure that when we do our first record on Nuclear Blast, we're going to be doing that.
That's right.
So I'm not going to talk too much shit about that, but doing it on Closed Casket and doing it on a label Justin, who runs it, is a good friend of mine, and he let us have full, control or whatever. And I could be super hands-on. So we were able to like do something a little bit different. And, I'm glad with how it all worked out. And it's not like we can tour on that record anyway. So there were so many different circumstances that made it seem like a surprise would be a cool thing to do.
Did you guys write it during the pandemic? And then you elaborated a little bit on like how different it is. And one of the things I wanted to kind of talk to you about was, the 2019 release seemed like it was more of I don't want to call it like a full album, because I mean it was a full album, but the EP that you just released, like you mentioned, had a bunch of shorter songs, and then the 8th song is pretty long. Like what thought process went into that? You know what I mean? And was it written in the pandemic timeframe?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was written in the pandemic. It's written and recorded because basically the whole thing was, I look at it kind of like a project where We wanted to do something different and kind of explore different, the different sides of stuff that we had already played with in Gatecreeper. So one was being fast and going faster than we've ever gone. And then one was being slow and going slower and longer than we've ever gone, like the two sides of the record. So that idea for the project was something that I've had for a year or two. But, we had just put out Deserted, and also we had about, like a year or two worth of touring planned out. So it was kind of put on the back burner of like, this would be a cool thing to do when we have time, we have some downtime. And so when the tours got canceled, it's like, we have downtime now, let's just do it. So we started writing. We had started writing a little bit before that. But again, it was kind of like a farther off in the future situation. So once everything got canceled, we're like, all right, let's do this. So we finished writing, and then we recorded it in July. And yeah, answer your other question. It is different, and it's purposely on different. And it's not necessarily indicative of like a huge style change for Gatecreeper. It was more kind of like an exploration, and also putting kind of a new rules or a removal of certain restrictions on what we usually do that like at least fueled me creatively to make a new record. So
I will say, once you push play on it, just like from the get go, you just get punched right in the face. That was one thing I noticed right off rip. So
yeah.
That's the way it should be. Damn it.
That's the idea.
Yeah, it does, and it kind of like doesn't hold let up for a while. Not that that's bad, but you know what I mean. Just kind of it goes real nice.
Yeah, cool. I'm glad you liked it.
When did you start growing the stash out? That was something that they wanted us to ask about. So much power is derived from the stash,
I think it was in 2017. So coming up on 4 years, I guess.
And what was
I have a story. I have a mustache story.
Mustache story.
So when we were first started, like I would say in 2016 is when we first started like really touring. We had done a couple before, but it was like our first package tours that we were doing and like support tours. And every tour, my upper lip would get like rubbed by the microphone, and then I would get like, because then I would shave normally like every 2 days or whatever, and I would start getting kind of like ingrown hairs or just sort of like a rash on my lip of just the microphone just rubbing on it. And then I grew a mustache, and it never happened again. Yeah,
that answers the question as to I was going to ask you, like, why just the mustache? And because you seem like you could grow a nice full beard too with the mustache coming in as great as it does. So it's a bold choice. It's a bold choice.
Build in mic guard. You don't need a pop filter in the studio.
There you go. Yeah,
perfect.
I mean, I actually grew a full beard last year during quarantine. So when our last record was written and recorded, I had a full beard. I don't know if you could hear it or not, but
no wonder it's different.
Yeah, exactly. That was the reason why. But I don't like a full beard. It's too itchy.
I don't like
a headache.
I don't like a long mustache. I keep my mustache very, very short.
Yeah, you got a nice one. You got a nice, you trim it up. You can tell.
Thank you. I too also had a long
fastidious
beard one time. I was a Duck Dynasty fellow for a little while. Not that I was into that show, but visually I was long bearded.
So, how long are we going to have to wait for that Nuclear Blast debut, you think? Is this like going to be 3 years before the next record?
We'll see. I don't know, man. Like we're already starting to work on it, at least like kicking ideas around and stuff. I usually like to take my sweet time and tinkering with stuff and getting everything perfect. And also there's the element that right now, basically, we're sitting on 2 records that we haven't toured on. We did one tour on Deserted because it came out October 2019. We did one tour in the fall of 2019. So if you think about it, like we pretty much have 2 full records that we haven't toured or like played live on. And so I'm definitely not trying to add a 3rd record onto that before we can tour again. But who knows what's going to happen. So, I mean, it's probably, I could tell you with almost certainty that it's not going to happen this year. But
makes sense.
I don't know. It just depends.
You guys are gonna have a lot of songs to practice, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So do you have a day job or anything, or are you just all Gatecreeper all the time?
Not anymore. I had a job or jobs or whatever until about like 2016 when we started touring. When we put out our first full length and started touring a bunch, and then I've been doing music full time. I have a couple other things that I do. Like I do graphic design. I had some stores that I ran with a friend, like as a screen printer, and just kind of like different hustles, I guess you'd call it. But Gatecreeper and music is my main thing, and it has been for a couple of years now.
Cool. What awesome. Kind of graphic design do you like? Do anything specific, or just like scene based things, like for friends and bands, or?
Yeah, a lot of. I started doing it just for my own band. If you see here, I have a Xerox machine in my.
Notice that.
So I do a lot of stuff. Like I do a lot of our own graphic design stuff and give it that like old zine looking vibe for it. And,
where's the fax machine?
I think it has a fax on there. I haven't used it though.
Yeah, nobody knows how to fax it.
But I kind of figured out and I honed in on this specific vibe or for graphic design specifically for our band. And then other bands and friends started hitting me up to do stuff like Full of Hell. And so I started doing shirt designs and stuff for other bands. And then I would done like a couple record layouts, but I'm pretty minimal and it's pretty narrow of the stuff that I can do or that I like to do. So I'm not getting like some crazy commercial design jobs. But
not working on the new Coca-Cola logo right now.
No.
Right.
And I eventually I kind of scaled back doing things for other bands and just focusing on our stuff. And also in Arizona and Phoenix, like I booked shows, or I did. So I would always make my own flyers and stuff like that. So
yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Somebody's got to do it, and you save a little money and have more control, and just makes you more autonomous, which is cool.
Yeah.
What kind of medium are you using? Are you using like laptop, desktop, or iPad, or drawing tablet?
So I'm not really an illustrator. So a lot of the stuff that I do is like I started on the computer of like a collage of some sort. Like find something from like an old book or like an old movie poster or something, and make some sort of Frankenstein monster on my in Photoshop, and then I'll print it out, and then I run it through the Xerox machine a bunch of times. Like I'll make a copy, and I'll take that copy and copy that copy like a bunch of times until it looks, beautifully fucked up, and then I scan it back in, and I'll do some other things. So a lot of this stuff that you see, I commission a lot of stuff for Gatecreeper, a lot of our shirt designs, but like if you see like the live stream flyers or anything, a lot of flyers or promotional stuff for Gatecreeper, that's all stuff that I did.
How long you been doing that? How long you been messing with graphic design?
I probably started when I was way younger, when I was a kid, like in the early 2000s. I got into like making GeoCities and Angel Fire websites.
I think that's all three of us. I think that's all three of us right now.
Like AOL Instant Messenger days and, whatever we were fucking around with pre MySpace or whatever it was.
MySpace.
I think that I had some sort of program that was like a bootleg, like a budget version of Photoshop. And I started messing around with that. And then I kind of fell off, and I didn't really have anything to make art for, like, because I'm not really making art just for art's sake. It has like a function for it. So I think once Gatecreeper started up and I actually had something, to make art for or do designs for, and then I picked it back up.
Are you self-taught the entire time, or have you like looked up? Yeah. Okay.
I have a couple friends that I collaborate with, I guess, like, that are actually art school educated. Like I have a friend now named Colin that me and him, like we did the layout for the new record, not the painting on the front, but the rest of it. And a lot of graphic or like flyers for Gatecreeper, since he has the, technological know-how. And I'm just like a caveman with a Xerox machine. I tap into him like, hey, how do you do this? Or he'll just send me a PSD file and I'd be like, oh, I could have saved a lot of time doing it that way. But
yeah,
how much ink you running through on that machine there, man?
It's like it comes in like a drum. It's like a huge thing like this, and it's like a powder.
Oh,
so they last a long time. They'll last a couple years.
Is it just black
and
white?
You got to pay like $500 for it?
Not really. It's not really that expensive. And like the Xerox machines, like this is the second one that I had because I broke the first one I had moving. But you can find them on Craigslist for like a couple $100.
Is it just
the
black
printer
and white?
or the ink?
The whole printer.
Really?
Yeah.
That looks expensive from here, but
I mean, it was probably expensive in 1994. So.
All right. Well, you're only 25 years behind.
I shouldn't be giving out all my secrets.
I know. That's the aesthetic.
I'm writing all this down, man. Photocopy 4 times.
Yeah,
Photoshop.
that's when he made fun of the 94. I was like, well, that would be like when zines are photocopy
Exactly.
and shit. So yeah, that makes sense.
Well, that's the whole thing with that like look of stuff. It's like you can make things look Xeroxed or pretty close to that if you're looking for that look in Photoshop. Like you never have to leave your computer. But if you really want to make it, like if you really want to do it the right way, you got to use the Xerox machine. Like you can't fake the funk,
Yeah.
Oh, you're not a Xerox poser for sure. Proof's right there. That's interesting. I never really even thought of doing it that way. I never heard. I mean, I'm not like up in the art scene or technique thing. I didn't know how to use Photoshop, but only for web crap. But that's interesting. I never really heard of the whole mutation via Xerox kind of process.
And you've never thought of doing it for like yourself, like because you mentioned earlier you didn't have anything to make art for, so do you not think of making like I don't want to say like an Etsy shop, but like a shop where you would sell like prints or something like that, like digital art prints? Because
bedazzled jean jackets.
I'm coming around to the idea that graphic design could also be like printed and hung and stuff. So
it's like a gray area for that sort of stuff because it just like I guess the medium or the references or the pieces that I use for stuff, since I'm not an illustrator, it's not like I'm drawing something completely new. Like if I'm making a flyer, I think it's perfectly fine to like take a piece from like an old movie poster or something else, and turning it into my own. But if I was like selling something, or that's why I also like don't do our own album, or I try not to do album covers, but I think for flyers, it's a little bit different and for other things. But I think that also on the same page of, if I was to sell something that had like, it was a flyer that had other bands on it, like, I don't know, I would just feel weird about selling something like that,
I meant like creating original artwork that necessarily wasn't band oriented, but
yeah.
But so you would feel awkward about like some copyright infringement / like IP stealing if you like even like, because like you said, it's a fine line, and I don't know what legal would say about that, but
yeah. Well, that stuff is a fine line, and it is a gray area because there's like fair use, and they say there's like you have to change something a certain percent, but like how do you quantify that? And a lot of the stuff that I do use is like there's like fair use websites or public domain. So like I try to use a lot of that stuff, but there's just I would rather not like fuck around with that. And also like I would say that I do graphic design, but I'm not one of those people that I want to be like, oh, I'm an artist, I'm a graphic artist. Like I do it specifically because there's a function for it. So
there's a need and you don't want to outsource it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, do you have any like go-to, you said movie posters a couple times. Do you have like things you specifically go to? Like I'm going to 30s Italian horror.
You're going to have him reveal
I don't
all
even
of
know
his
if there is
secrets.
such a thing, but
Yeah.
well, without giving too much away.
Well, I definitely over the years just like find there's like all kinds of crazy blogs that have a bunch of archives and stuff like that. Or like I remember when Tumblr was a thing, there would always be some cool shit on there. Just online, just a bunch of stuff. And then I have I'll go to like book fairs or just weird like used bookstores and look for just some stuff that looks
basically
cool.
Out there searching for inspiration.
Yeah. And then making I think collaging is a valid, form of art. So that's basically what I'm doing.
Interesting.
Yeah, you could definitely.
I don't think about enough.
I don't know. You could definitely I hate saying Etsy store, but some kind of store. I feel.
Yeah.
Because some of that stuff
I used to have a store with my friend who's a screen printer, and we would make, I guess you would call them bootleg shirts. Like I would, we had a store that we'd make rap shirts. So I made like Big L shirt, UGK shirt. We made a 3-6 Mafia shirt, and I got a cease and desist for it. But I was designing; they were like original designs for because it started because I just wanted shirts for like some rapper or something that they don't really make merch or it's not cool for the most part. So I was like, I'm just going to start making my own.
Make your own.
And we started selling them. But it's a gray area. So it's also a weird thing for me. Like I'm not trying to get jammed up in any sort of situation. So, and I mean, cause there's like a whole, I don't know if you guys are interested in that sort of thing, but like, I really like band shirts. And there's a whole like world of bootleg band shirts.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm on Depop.
Yeah. So like, that's a huge thing. And I think it's even blown up in the past couple of years. With people, it's very DIY. It's like, oh, I can make this, I can design this, and then, have my friend screen print it or whatever. So I was definitely kind of in that game for a while, but, there's a lot of things that I used to do that now with just the band doing a lot more, I've just had to kind of, slim down on other activities that I'm doing. And also out of necessity, like there's not, I was doing that to supplement being in a band full time so that I could just make a living off of it. But that desperation or whatever is a bit lessened over the years. So I don't know. Artistically, it's fun, but also it's a gray area that I'm also being a musician. And like, if you're a musician and then you're bootlegging shirts of other musicians, like I'm not trying to have someone get mad at me for that. Right. So
you'll have sympathy for the 19-year-old arrested in Iowa for bootlegging Gatecreeper shirts.
Yeah. I've actually have seen some of that stuff, and I'm like, there's like on eBay or something, like some patch, and I'm like, I'm not mad that this is being bootlegged, but I'm mad that it looks like shit.
As you should.
That's what I'm mad at.
You should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be galling. It's like, dude, you're gonna make something custom, make it nice.
Yeah,
you're just sullying our brand with that shit.
Yeah.
So you like rap? Then I would assume if you're making bootleg rap shirts, what are some of your favorites? And is it like current? Do you like current hip hop rap, or is it only like throwbacks?
It's changed. Like when I was younger, and I was into like, when I was getting into skateboarding and like punk at the time, I think that skateboarding and like old like New York hip hop sort of stuff went hand in hand, like Wu-Tang, Nas, like West Coast, like hieroglyphics, Souls of Mischief, whatever they call like golden age hip hop. So I really like that sort of stuff. And any of the Wu-Tang related, like Raekwon and shit. And then somewhere down the line, I got more into like the Southern rap stuff. So that's more of the vibe that I'm into now, like 3-6 Mafia and that any of the 3-6 related stuff, like UGK.
Yeah, it's more like when I grew up.
Yeah, like 8 Ball, MJG, like Scarface, all that shit. That's more my speed now.
Yeah, I'm all about Soulja Boy. I'm making Soldier Boy shirts back here.
But there's not a whole lot of there's not a whole lot of modern stuff that I know. I have a lot of friends that have tried to get me into like what's that Griselda, a lot of the Griselda stuff, but I haven't really gotten into it. I do like some SoundCloud rap though. I will say that, but that's not even really rap.
Like when you say like SoundCloud rap, are you talking about like just the new hip hop that comes out?
No, I'm talking about like Lil Peep.
Okay, yeah, that. Not
I like Lil Peep.
Not like trailer park. I call it like trailer park rap, like Suicide Boys and Puya.
Oh yeah. Stuff. See that Suicide Boys? It's like, I mean, I would rather just listen to 3 6 Mafia, but I don't know. I'm always looking for new music, and if there's something new, I'll check it out. So don't want to shit on anything. So, but most of as far as rap stuff is older that I'm into. What's
a genre that a casual Gatecreeper fan would be surprised Chase listens to?
I guess if they're casual, I love like emo or like early 2000s emo stuff.
Names.
I talk about that all the time. So if someone follows me on like social media, they'll know that. But Jimmy Eat World is from my hometown, Mesa, Arizona. They went to my high school. I mean, they're older than me, so Jimmy Eat World and all that stuff. And like, I don't know. I can name off. I think when you say the word emo, people
you definitely have to
automatically
clarify.
Yeah, they're terrified automatically. And but I think people now will automatically think that you're talking about like My Chemical Romance or like Fall Out Boy.
I knew you were going to say that, yeah.
But that's not what I'm talking about. You know, like that stuff. It is what it is. But I don't know.
You have the same problem with screamo, you know.
Yeah, but in the early 2000s, especially because Jimmy Eat World was like popping off and they were from here, that was the thing. Like if you played in like a high school band, you probably wanted to be Jimmy Eat World, and there was house shows and they were all like emo bands. So it's a dirty word, and I understand that, but I love that shit. No shame.
No shame in that.
No.
So do you enjoy going to the?
Well, you didn't say polka.
Nights?
I was hoping you were going to say polka, but
I didn't name any other names, but I'll say Get Up Kids is another good one too. Sunny Day Real Estate.
Yeah, there's
3 names.
When I hear emo, those are the bands I think of, and when people on Twitter love to call everything emo, obviously. But.
Yeah, it's totally changed. You know, like especially now with emo nights, like. I would never go to one of those. Like that sounds like a hellscape. That's like the last place I would ever want to go to. But the name or tag emo is like completely changed from, I guess that just like dates myself and I'm an old man now. If I'm like, no, that's not real emo. And also that's kind of
we have that problem with all these genres, whether it's metalcore or, as I said, screamo. It's just. You know, it's always something different to the older people, the newer people. And it's like you open that door, starting to argue about what is or what isn't. It just never ends well. So, now I'm just at the point, well, whatever. You know, actually, you want to call freaking Nickelback metalcore. Go.
Actually, one of the things I think that maybe you didn't say, Chase, but it was on like an interview you did a couple years ago with the guy from Nails. You guys were talking about how like small communities. You know, hardcore kids went to the metal shows and, you know, they went to all the shows. And that kind of makes me think like how I just categorize scene music. Because I also went to all the shows too. So like, to me, like, even though metalcore, metal, emo, and all that stuff, blah, 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 all those genres, it's all like scene music to me. And I just categorize it as such. So
yeah, well, there's a specific, like, I feel like it's after a while, there's this very specific, like when you say scene, I think of like the Warped Tour, like boy band metalcore bands and like V-neck shirts and like Toms. So
I know I'm going to piss people off, but I mean like I'm going to piss some people off, but like the hardcore scene. That's what I kind of refer to it as. Like everything under the umbrella is the hardcore scene because it kind of, I don't know. I don't want to say it all derived from the hardcore scene, but you know.
Yeah. I associate the word scene, if you're talking about like scene metal or like scene music, I associate that with like the MySpace era, you know, like Neon, whatever, attack or some shit.
Attack.
Yeah.
You say the word neon and I'm thinking attack.
Yeah.
Crabcore.
Yeah. One of the things that we're talking about, like goofy, like associations with, and how people, we're in metal, like it's such a nerdy thing where we're like, no, that's not black death metal. That's, or it's death metal with melodic black metal elements or whatever, like, and someone, I've seen people call Gatecreeper deathcore. And, but it's really, I think that they're trying to say it's like death metal with like a hardcore influence. But if you say deathcore, I'm like, we're not a deathcore band.
No.
Like,
right. Because you're just picturing dudes in tight black shirts with gauges.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have that. Obviously, all these articles, all these stupid, well, some are stupid, some are amazing. But these posts, but it's like I put a lot of thought, or I decide not to put thought in like genres because I always feel like I'm just going to get, bad feedback. Do I call this band metalcore? Do I put metal /hardcore? Do I call it metallic hardcore? Because as you said, like certain genres, they have all this baggage. And while the sound may, be sort of faithful to the genre by name, the scene and the accoutrements of that genre, they don't match up. So it's like a big freaking hassle to even. Sometimes I'm just like, no, I'm not going to put a genre because it's just, there's no way I'm going to get this right. And other times I'll put like 4 slashes, hardcore / death metal / thrash / crossovers. It's like, I hate the genre shit. But I mean, it all makes sense. What do you tell Aunt Marjorie at your grandmother's Christmas dinner when she says, what kind of music does your band play, Chase?
I just say a metal band.
Like AC/DC?
Yeah. Van Halen. Oh, God, I love that metal.
We kind of have a running joke on tour. Like you're at like a gas station or it's like a toll booth person. They're like, oh, are y'all a band? And you're like, yeah. And they're like, what's your band's name? And we like Mudvayne is one that we say all the time.
Nice.
Or just like make up different band names. And because
Mudvayne's risky because you got to get some, toll dudes that are like, yeah,
but they don't. But they have
also,
face paint. They have.
You can be like
before you pick the band.
Yeah, and you can be like, yeah, we just normally wear makeup, but this is what we normally look like.
I wear like a bald cap. I have a bald cap on.
Yeah, that's funny.
We're Mushroom Head.
I like it.
Yeah, Mushroom Head.
Yeah, nobody knows what they look like. Fuck it.
You guys like that black metal prank call, the classic YouTube one? Have you ever listened to that?
No,
she's like, yeah, I like that Mushroom Head.
I've not seen that.
I'll have to send
I'm
going
to look it up right after this.
Yeah, I think it's just called
Sounds promising.
Black metal prank call. I guarantee you both will like it. I don't even know you guys, but you'll probably like it.
Hey, I grew up on the Jerky
Black
Boys.
Metal Mushroom Head. That's a winner for me.
Yeah, I love a good prank call with the Crank Yankers and the Jerky Boys. So
Jerky Boys. Yeah, now we're really dating ourselves.
that was funny shit when you were a teenager.
That was
pretty.
Yeah,
and of course before that was pre-internet, kind of. I guess I had this. We had the CD.
Yeah. Internet ruined everything.
I was actually just thinking about that because I watched Happy Gilmore last night because it was the 25th anniversary of Happy Gilmore, and I was thinking about how me and my friends used to listen to the Adam Sandler comedy album. Do you guys remember that?
I almost bought it because it's
like the goat skit.
I never had it.
Yes, dude. I almost bought it. It's at the bookstore. It's for $2, and it's like pristine condition and on CD. And I was like, dude, the only reason I would buy it, not to listen to it, but is for nostalgia, and because I grew up with that, and me and my friends in middle school would just quote the shit out of that. And that goat skit was just so fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
have fun mosh pitting. I say that shit still.
You say "fuck me, my goat ass"?
No, I say have fun mosh pitting. Whatever he talks about.
But nobody, no younger people like a comedy album. They probably be like, "What's that?"
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I still have a vivid memory of being like, "Oh, 5 years old or something, and my neighbor got a freaking Eddie Murphy comedy out. You know, this is going way back. But put that shit on, and it was like he did this "Be Up Your Butt" song, which is so stupid, but that's all we had.
Yeah.
Oh, he's funny too.
Oh well.
So do you like comedy then, Chase? You're a comedy guy, or you just were like, it was 25 years ago. Tonight's the night. I saw this post on Instagram. He can still whack the ball. Me as well.
That was pretty much it. I mean, I do like funny movies. People, it might be blasphemy, but like I'm not a huge horror movie guy.
What?
I mean, I know I'm not really like the stereotype.
You can't be a metal, man.
Yeah.
This guy likes emo and doesn't like horror movies. And
kick me out right now. The people are right. The people are right. I am a poser.
Chase Mason watches Friends every night.
Yeah. Actually, I'm more of a Seinfeld guy, but yeah.
Good call.
Seinfeld, yeah. I watch that shit over and over again.
I like comedy.
Yeah.
Do you like comics or do you like just comedy like movies and shit?
I mean, I would say movies. I don't watch a whole lot of stand-up comedy. I mean, there's the classic like combos of them, Chappelle Show. I revisited recently.
Mm-hmm. You state me like you like the older shit more than the new stuff. So like you seem to be the kind of guy that rewatches movies a lot. Like,
yeah.
What are some of your top, if you could off the top of your head, like just go to comedies?
Encino Man, number 1.
Okay.
That's my favorite.
You've set a high bar.
Yeah. I mean, I guess not just comedy, but like I would say my favorite movies are Encino Man, Goodfellas, Burn After Reading. That's my top 3.
I've not seen Burn After Reading.
You haven't?
It's kind of weird.
That doesn't even ring a bell to me, but
it's got a bunch of big guys in it, like Brad Pitt.
It's a Coen Brothers movie.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Guys, is it Gwyneth Paltrow in that? Gwyneth Paltrow and Brad Pitt. Is George Clooney?
Yeah, Brad Pitt. George Clooney's in it too.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people. And Brad Pitt's this weird.
It's a lot of hot dudes.
Weird guy. This weird fitness guy. But
yeah, there's
I don't know.
There's that quote. I can't remember. I feel like there was a band that in the era where bands always had movie samples in their records.
Yeah, between every song.
That was my band.
One of my favorite samples is from Burn After Reading, where that Brad Pitt character, he's like, "I thought you might be worried about the security of your shit."
What album?
I don't know. I can't remember, but I feel like somebody did.
What is your?
Yeah, well, you're probably right.
What's your favorite sample ever used in a song?
That's a tough
or
one.
which one stands out other than that one to you? Not like favorite. Which ones stand out to you? Like,
I don't know. I mean, I've never been really a fan of it. I remember like that band Graf Warlock, and that was like their whole thing. It was like action movie samples.
I was like that. If you ever heard of that Kill Whitney Dead band way back in the day.
Yeah, I seen
them
live
like half
before.
Their albums were like, oh really? Half their albums were like, I feel like they were like samples of shit.
Yeah. Okay. One that sticks out to me. It's not even that old. But the Magruder Grind album, I think it was their self-titled. They had like a Trailer Park Boys sample, and they also had this another YouTube video that's one of my favorites. This like cable access preacher named Reverend X, and they sampled that, and I thought it was.
Is that the old guy?
Yeah, he just talks shit. And
he's talking tongue.
No,
that's the farting preacher guy that I'm thinking of. Never mind.
You had me at cable access preacher. I mean, if there was a winning formula, that's it.
That's like, I mean, that's not even the half of it. Just put it. You got black metal for prank call, and then look up Reverend X after that. That's your
is this
YouTube
guy had he been in prison at one point and likes to cuss on?
Yes.
He likes to cuss during his thing.
He dances.
Is he maybe like someone who might have lived the street life at some point? I think I might have seen this guy. Yeah, he's hilarious. He was that was one of my first like internet videos I found back in the day. Oh my god, that was
Reverend X.
The internet's made for that shit, but I haven't seen it. I've got some assignments now to check out.
Oh, dude, he goes hard on the camera.
He goes so hard.
That's a good one.
All right.
One that sticks out to me,
oh.
the sample is the Mel Gibson in Signs. There's no one watching out for us. But it's also like one that's right before a breakdown, and I Remembering Never.
Why?
Song.
What album's that? I like Signs.
Remembering Never.
Oh, remember
Women and Children First.
Do you remember that Bleeding Through album? And it had that I think it was Boondock Saints.
Yeah, that one too. Yeah.
There was a firefight.
Yes, that's a great one.
God,
all I keep hearing is that Scream and the Dillinger Escape self-titled, but I don't know where that, or not self-titled, Calculating Infinity, the debut. I don't know where that Scream came from though.
Yeah,
anytime somebody says sample, I keep hearing it. That and a
Wheelheim Scream
opening of 36 Chambers.
I love when you're watching a movie. Well, I guess they have a meme for it now where it has that meme where it has Leonardo DiCaprio and he's he's pointing at the TV. Mm-hmm. But I have those moments where, you're watching a movie and you're like, oh, I know that. This band sampled this.
Yeah, if you do it in reverse order, it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
Hey, this movie got this song from Poison the Well. Anyway, well, I feel like this could go on for hours. Now we go down the movie.
We're just shooting
rabbit
shit.
hole. Yeah, which is what we aim to do here. But we also aim to not keep our guests, up all night and not that copy machine is quiet and probably needs to be fired up.
It does.
So, Dave, you had anything? Did we miss anything? Not that we had an agenda.
No, not necessarily. I think we're all good.
Gatecreeper live stream. Check it out this weekend.
Yeah, where can you go?
Friday.
Where can they go see? Where can they go watch this? Is it at the website or?
Yeah, we built our own site for it, so it's gatecreeper.com. Right now, you can buy the tickets for it and some other merch, and then that's where you're going to watch the stream. And then it's live, it premieres, I guess, on Friday evening, and then throughout the weekend you can just watch it on demand, I guess.
Cool. Well,
sweet. Well, everybody go check that out. Otherwise, Chase is going to have to start, making bootleg rap shirts again. He'll probably end up in jail. And you won't get a new Gatecreeper out.
Please.
That is
all right. Hilarious. Sweet.
All right, well, thanks for having me, guys.
No problem, man.
Thanks so much for coming on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, peace out.
See ya.